The owner just handed a leadership decision to a technical person, and those are two different things. Your IT person is great at keeping your system running. That's their job. But cybersecurity as a strategy, deciding what data matters most, how much risk the company can absorb, which vendors to trust, what compliance requirements apply to your industry, those are not IT decisions. Those are business owner decisions, CEO decisions, your decision. Welcome back to The Pink Elephant, the podcast for business leaders who are done pretending they have got their cybersecurity handled. I am Alvion Legall, President and CEO of ABL Computers, and today we're getting into something that I think is one of the most important mindset shifts a business owner can make. No jargon, no scare tactics, just the truth about what's sitting in your business operations right now and the simple steps you can actually take to deal with it. Last week, I asked you to take 30 minutes and write down the honest answer to one question. If someone wanted to get into your business, what would they go after and how easily could they get to it? If you did that exercise, I want you to look at your list because what you wrote down, that's not an IT problem. That's a leadership problem. And today, I am going to explain exactly what I mean about that. If you didn't do the exercise yet, that's okay. Stay with me. And by the end of this episode, you're going to understand why cybersecurity is your responsibility as a business owner and no one else's. This is episode 2 of The Pink Elephant. And today's episode is built around one question I hear constantly. Can I just hand this off to my IT person and be done with it? The short answer is no. The reason why is what makes all the difference. And once you understand it, you're going to think about your business very differently. Let me tell you what I see happen over and over again. A business owner gets nervous about cybersecurity. They saw something on the news, maybe a colleague had an incident, so they walk over to the IT person and say, hey, we need to make sure we are covered. And the IT person says, yeah, I've got it. And the owner walks away feeling relieved. The problem is solved. Box checked. But here's what actually happened. The owner just handed a leadership decision to a technical person. And those are two different things. Your IT person is great at keeping your system running. That's their job. But cybersecurity as a strategy, deciding what data matters most, how much risk the company can absorb, which vendors to trust, what compliance requirements apply to your industry, those are not IT decisions. Those are business owner decisions, CEO decisions, your decision. Think about the decisions in your business that only you can make. Hiring, firing, which clients to take on, what your company stands for, where the money goes. Cybersecurity belongs in the same list. Here is why. If your business suffers a data breach, the call doesn't go to your IT person. It goes to you. The news story doesn't say IT department fails to protect clients' data. It says the name of your company, your name. Regulatory fines doesn't land on the help desk. It lands on the business. And in many industries, financial services, accounting, healthcare, legal, the owner can be held personally liable if the proper safeguards weren't in place. This is not about blame. This is about ownership. And the person running this business, you are the only one with the authority and the visibility to make sure these decisions get made properly. Let me give you an example of what I mean. A couple of years ago, a business called me in they needed a written information security policy. And I said to the owner, do you have an IT department? He said, yes. I said, great, wonderful. I will come by and I will do the assessment. Things were running good. Once again, nobody had any complaint. And when I asked the owner about their security posture, when I asked them about it, they pointed to the IT person. I said, ask him, talk to him. That was the first sign. So on my way to the office, pulled into the parking lot, and as always, I open up my iPad and just see what Wi-Fi connections are available, what is open, what is not secure. And sure enough, I found a wireless connection. I connected to it, and using an inexpensive tool that is free on the internet, I ran a scan of the network. I was able to see this client's workstations. I was able to see the name of their servers, all of these things. This was a major security gap in their network. It's not that the IT person was incompetent. They were doing their job, but nobody had ever asked them to think about the business strategically. Nobody told them which data was the most sensitive, which vendor can have access to what, or what a breach would actually cost the company. That context lives with the owner. And without it, even a good IT team, they are flying blind. So what does it actually mean to own this as a leader? It doesn't mean you need to understand firewalls and how networks are structured or write security protocols yourself. It means three things. One, you know what you are protecting. What is the most valuable, most sensitive information in your business? And where does it live? Who has access to it? These are the questions only you can fully answer. Two, you ask the right questions. Not are we secure, but what happened if we lost access to everything for 24 hours? Or what does our vendor compliance look like? Those questions changes the conversation. And three, you make the call on acceptable risk. Every business has a risk threshold. You can absorb every business has a risk threshold. What can you absorb? What can you afford to lose? That's a business decision, not a technical one. It belongs with you. Your IT person implements. You decide. That's the distinction. I use this example a lot, and somehow it resonates with people. Think of it this way. When you go to visit the Pentagon, you go through a security checkpoint at the front door. Simple, straightforward. As you go deeper into the building, the layers of security gets more intense, more expensive, more targeted. By the time you reach the most sensitive area, if you're able to get there, if you have clearance, you're dealing with a completely different level of protection. Nobody built that system and asked the guard at the front door what they thought the whole building needed. They asked leadership. They made strategic decisions about what matters the most about and built the protection around that. That's the model. You don't need top-tier security everywhere. You need the right security in the right places. And figuring that out, that's a leadership conversation. Every episode of The Pink Elephant ends the same. One clear, non-technical step you can actually do this week. Here is your step. Schedule a 15-minute conversation with whoever handles your IT, whether that's an internal person or an outside provider, and ask them these 3 questions. 1. What is the most sensitive data we hold and where does it live? 2. Which vendor 2. Which of our vendors or third parties have access to our systems or our clients' data? And 3. If we had a breach today, what is our response plan? You're not looking for the perfect answer. You're looking for how confidently and specifically they can respond. If they struggle with any of these, that's information. That tells you where the gap is. And if you're the one who doesn't know the answer, that's your starting point. Write them down. That's the first step of owning this as a leader. That's it for episode 2 of The Pink Elephant. Cybersecurity is not an IT task. It's a leadership responsibility. And the sooner you own that, the better protected your business is going to be. If today's episode resonates with you, share it with a business owner who needs to hear it. And if you have gotten a question you'd like me to tackle on a future episode, send it my way. The best conversation starts with the questions people are too nervous to ask out loud. Next week, we're going to talk about the real cost of downtime. And I mean actual dollar figures. Because until you know your number, you don't fully understand what's at stake. I am Alvion Legall. Thanks for listening. And remember, the first step is just acknowledging what's already in the room. Thank you very much. Be blessed.